Hello, my name's Casey and today I'm going to be making biscotti. Biscotti are a type of an Italian cookie that are a little harder than usual than what some people might be used to, but they're perfect for dipping into your morning coffee or tea. Many people might think you can only buy biscotti at Starbucks or already pre-made, pre-packaged, but you can make it yourself at home and it's actually pretty simple. So come along and I'll show you how it's done. We need to start off with 270 grams of all-purpose flour. After we have our flour, we need to add the salt and the baking powder. 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of salt to bring out those flavors, and then just give it a little whisk. And we'll set this aside and work on our wet ingredients. So I'm gonna do 148 grams of sugar. We need just 3 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So we have our fat and our sugar. Get rid of this. Don't need that anymore. I'm gonna just take a hand mixer. You can also do this in a stand mixer, but just to keep my mess minimal, I'm going to use a hand mixer and mix this for just a few minutes till everything's incorporated. Okay, after that's stirred, I probably just did it for about a minute. I'm gonna add in 2 eggs, 2 large eggs, and I never measure my vanilla, but 2 teaspoons of vanilla, so 2 good squirts of vanilla. Whoop, I got a little out of control. Okay, and then I will stir this. Okay, stir just until incorporated. We don't want to overmix the eggs. Now it's time to mix in our flour mixture. Mix this in. Just give this a little whirl. Okay, and that's it. That is the basis of a biscotti cookie. So now we can add our little mix-ins that we want to. And my mix-in that I'm gonna do today is pistachios. So I have about a cup of pistachios here. You could do a cup and a half. And I'm gonna get these chopped up, just roughly chopped up, and incorporate them into my dough. So just a rough chop. And then I'm gonna also save some of this, keeping my bowl aside. I'm gonna save some of these to kind of top off when the biscotti is finished. We're of course gonna put some chocolate on it. And then just to top off the chocolate, I'm gonna do a couple little sprinkles of pistachios. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna put some of those bigger chunks in. And then I'm gonna save some of these smaller chunks to decorate the top of the cookie for later after I put chocolate on it. Okay, so let's get these in here. Okay, so that's for later. Now we'll just fold in these pistachios into our dough. Okay, so now all of our ingredients are mixed together and in its bowl, and it's ready to be placed and positioned on the cookie sheet. There are, I would say, 2 ways that you can prepare your cookie dough on the cookie sheet. You can do 2 logs that are the same size, or you can do 1 big log, depending on what size you like the cookies. If you like them to be long, you would just do 1 large log on your cookie sheet. If you liked them to be a little bit more medium or small, then you would do 2 smaller logs on your cookie sheet. Today I'm going to do 2 logs. And so to make sure everything is cooked evenly, I am going to evenly divide my cookie dough. So I'm just going to take it out, tear this, Let's see how much it weighs. So it's 690 grams. So if I want to do half of that, quick math is 345. Okay. So let's get this log to 345. This. Okay, perfect. So instead of doing one long log, I'm gonna do two smaller logs. So I'm gonna do it kind of shaping them this way. You can see how you have control of the size biscotti you have in the end. If you want them really small, you can make these logs more narrow. Or if you like them more medium sized, don't make them as narrow. This is where you are shaping your biscotti right now. This is gonna go in the oven in a 350-degree oven. And then after it's cooked, we'll take out these logs and let them rest for like 10 minutes, and then we're gonna cut them. And then we're gonna put them, all those individual cookies on their side, and bake them some more. So this is a cookie that does go through the baking process 2 times. So now we are just getting the dough ready for our first bake. Okay, the first round of baking is done. They just cooked for 25 minutes and now they're gonna rest. Okay, so after the first round of cooking, they need to rest for just around 10 minutes. You don't want them to rest too much longer than that because they're still gonna be soft and malleable, because now our next step is going to be cutting these. If they cool down for too much time and you go to cut it, it can all get broken and craggly and break apart, and that's not necessarily what you want. You want to kind of have a nice clean cut, and just waiting 10 minutes is going to do that for us. Okay, since they've cooled down a little bit, they're not too hot to handle. I'm going to keep my cookie sheet nearby because I'm going to just cut these and put them right back on there, and cutting them at about 1 inch, 3/4, no, I'd say 1 inch. Since these are going through a second cooking process, these aren't completely cooked all the way. I usually save these little ones for snacking. Okay, so we'll put them on edge. You can see they're not cooked all the way in the center. So we will line them up, put them in the oven, and then halfway through the baking process we will flip them and cook them some more. Okay, so my cookies are all cut and arranged on the cookie sheet. These are gonna go back in the oven. It's remained at 350, and I'm gonna first bake them for 8 minutes, then take them out and flip them over, and then bake them for another 8 minutes. Okay, they just came out of the oven after being in there for their first 8-minute round. Now I am just going to flip them and put them in for another 8 minutes. So while I wait for the cookies to finish cooking for those last 8 minutes, I'm gonna be getting our chocolate ready. We are going to dip these biscotti in some chocolate and then sprinkle some crushed up pistachios on top of it. Okay, so I just did it for a first round of 30 seconds, and I'm gonna give it a little mix. It's gonna stick to my spatula. That's okay. I'm gonna put it back in for another 30 seconds. Okay, this is what it looks like after 2 rounds in the microwave. Going in for a third. Okay, they're all done, and I'm gonna take them out of the cookie sheet and place them on this drying rack. And then I will put the drying rack on the cookie sheet, and then it'll be a great little drip pan for when I add the chocolate goodness on top. Okay, so the chocolate's ready to be dipped. Just dip them head in. You can do a little sprinkle on top of that. Okay, I'm gonna continue dipping all of my biscotti in the chocolate. You can dip them however you like. You can dip it like halfway like this. I just like to dip it halfway long ways, just so every single bite includes chocolate. So I got all the chocolate on there. Now I'm just finishing up the last of the pistachio. And then now we have to wait for them to to cool off and dry, which will probably be the longest part of this whole process. Okay, the biscotti are finished. I got a whole tray of them, ready to be devoured for over the next few days. Here is the one that I'm gonna eat right now. And of course, I made a fresh cup of cappuccino, which is my coffee of choice. Okay, and like I said, the biscotti is a hard cookie, so don't just like dunk real quick and take it out. Like dunk it for a little bit and then take a bite. So good. So crunchy, not too crunchy though, to where it's gonna hurt your teeth or anything. The chocolate is the perfect amount of chocolate to cookie, and the pistachios are just delicious. Please give this recipe a try. Buon appetito, and I'll see you later.